Thanks, Chris from the Hagon factory. So this week we're going to have a talk about the 250 Yamaha Hagon we've got. It's actually a Bultaco frame, and it's a completely different style of frame to all the other Hagons we've got. It's got a different diameter back tube and all that, but we'll go through all that through the video. So let's have a look. Righto, the 250 Yamaha Hagon. So a lot of this was done before I started doing this YouTube stuff. So there's a lot of photos there, but keep watching, there's some really good photos. So what happened is we were looking for another frame, and we heard that our friend Johnny McLean might have one. So we rang Johnny and he said yes, he had one. So we went and had a look. For some reason in my mind I thought it would have been a sand racer, but when we got there it was the strangest looking Hagon frame I've ever seen. It's got a thicker down tube and twin down tubes at the front, so it was actually built in the late 60s for a 360 Bultaco. So we ended up buying the bike, and that's where the story starts. So I've never actually seen Bultaco Hagon before. I've seen photos, I've got some great photos, so you can have a look at those to see what this bike should actually look like. So we couldn't find a Bultaco engine anywhere locally at the right price, or they just didn't seem to come up. So I went up and seen Craig at Bendigo Hydroblasting. You've all seen his channel, you've seen the video that I did with Craig. And I was just talking to Craig about it, and I said, if you come across a Centerport two-stroke engine, I'd be really interested. And Craig pulled one out from under the bench, and it was actually a DT 250 motor. I don't know whether it's 74 or 75, but he used that engine as a display. So it was already blasted, and he pulled it all apart, and he put all the parts in containers, all labelled. So we came to an arrangement and we ended up with that engine. So now we've got the wrong engine and the wrong frame. Now with the Yamaha engine, my father Alan, he loves putting engines together. He's a bit of a two-stroke guru. So he got hold of it, new bearings, YZ250 piston, new clutch, just knew everything really. It was a good engine, it wasn't worn, hadn't done a lot of Ks by the look of it, but we went through the whole thing. So by this stage I'd already fitted a Velo engine into a Hagon, as you all know, so I'd had a little bit of experience. So what I did is I made some more plates up out of plywood. I split, the cases were already bare, so I split the cases, laid them out on the plywood, traced around the cases to make them fit as nice as I could. So once I do that and I get it sitting in the frame, I get the counter shaft lined up with the swing arm pivot, then I put some threaded rod in there and I put some nuts in there so I can wind the engine from side to side to line up the sprockets on the counter shaft and the rear wheel. So I did all that. You'll see that in the photos as well. It's a really good way of doing it, very cheap way of doing it without wasting too much material. So once I got all that done, then I transferred that over to aluminium. I leave a little bit of fat on the aluminium so to hang foot pegs and brake pedals and all that sort of stuff. And then once I've got all that bolted on, then I trim the plates down, as you can see in the photos. But I'm pretty happy with the way it come up. It's a nice bike, and there's no saying in the future that we won't put a Bultaco motor in. If one came up, I'm sure we'd buy it, and it'd be nice to put it back to original, but at the moment it's a great piece of machinery, and we'll have a bit more of a look. So the last piece of the puzzle was the expansion chamber and the muffler. So I got that off Terry Webb. So I ended up getting the frame, the rolling chassis, the engine and the chamber, all that from less than 15 k's from where I live. So, which is fantastic. The chamber just needed a couple of slices in it and to be re-welded just to get around the frame, just pull it a bit tighter under your leg. I made up the muffler, machined all those parts. It came up absolutely fantastic. The chamber works really well with the way the motor's set up in the carbine. It pulls like a train. So, and thank you to Alan Straw, my father, for doing that. It's a good thing. Now, there's a lot of differences on this frame. What I've got here is just this is a long track bike. The back tube on the Bultaco frame is twice the thickness. It is absolutely massive. It's got twin down tubes at the front for the centre port to let the expansion chamber and that come through. The way the petrol tank mounts as well is completely different. It has the swing arm actually bolts to the frame, where most Hagons have a bush that goes through the engine plates. So it's actually bolts the engine plates, not straight to the frame. So that's different as well. We'll get a bit of footage of that. In the end, we've ended up with a complete bike. It's the wrong engine, the wrong frame, but they work well together. It's evolving. We've done a few upgrades since we've been riding it. So we've got rental bars, different seats, and we've put some better shocks on the rear. But other than that, it's a great bike. You couldn't build a bike any cheaper than that bike. And get out there and have some fun. So stop thinking about it, do it. So I'm sure a few of you guys have seen this bike getting around at Broadford. We've had a few different rides myself, Alan Strawn, my father, Ben Mundy's done a couple of laps on it. I think Tony Peters is going to come over on a ride day and do a few laps, so that'll be fantastic. Now, if you like what you see, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everyone. Let's bring Hagon's back.